Members, it's appointed time and we have a quorum. Welcome to this meeting of the panel on Information Technology and Broadcasting. We're going to discuss the policy address in this meeting. First item on the agenda, information paper issued since the last meeting. The Secretariat issued one set of paper, details been set out on the agenda. Second item, items for discussion at the next meeting. Upon discussion with the administration and considering the attendance, the panel will hold two policy briefings today and on the 22nd of September. Today we will hear from the Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development on a briefing of the policy address, and the next meeting will be held on the 22nd of September, 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m., where we will listen from Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry, as well as Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism. The next regular meeting will be held on the 13th of October 2025, Monday, 2:30 p.m. The administration proposed to discuss one item, that is the work on safeguarding information security. This item was supposed to be discussed on the 22nd, but as we're going to have a policy briefing on that day, the item is postponed. Do we all agree to the said item? If yes, let's proceed to the next item, that is briefing by the Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development on the Chief Executive's 2025 policy address. Welcome Mr. Yao, Secretary, and his team for attending today's meeting. LC paper number CB bracket 21765/2025 bracket 02. I believe that you all have it before you. After the Secretary has given his presentation, members can put questions. Please press the button now. If I may remind members, the questions that you put has to be in relation to television broadcasting and telecommunications. Secretary Yao, please. Thank you, Madam Chair, members. Good afternoon. I'm here to brief members on the relevant policy measures and progress relating to the work on telecommunications and broadcasting in the 2025 policy address. Now, on telecommunications, the government will continue to play the role of facilitator to enable the telecommunications and broadcasting industries to better seize the opportunities and drive the vibrant development of the telecommunications and broadcasting industries so that we can bring the public with high quality and diversified services. On space economy, the CEDB is looking into streamlining the approval procedure for low Earth orbit satellites. Hopefully the study can be completed within 2026 and the results will be announced in the same year. Through streamlining the application procedures, we hope that potential enterprises, talents, and investment will come to Hong Kong to speed up the development of space economy. Second, on proactively promoting future 6G applications, the government is preparing for the 6G era. We are providing appropriate spectrum to the trade. We have organized 2 auctions last year, and in October this year, we're going to host another auction that covers 6G application. The administration is also helping the trade to expand their infrastructures. In July, we've rolled out a scheme to extend 5G coverage in rural and remote areas to facilitate 6G service. Third, on low altitude economy development, this is our new driving force and new growth engines. Communications network is one of the critical components to low altitude economy. By the end of 2025, we're going to roll out a dedicated spectrum for the operation of unmanned aircraft systems to make sure that unmanned aircraft can operate efficiently and effectively. The government strives to safeguard the integrity and efficiency of Hong Kong's communication system. We are reviewing the real name registration program for SIM cards In July, we reported to the panel on information technology and broadcasting on our enhanced measures. We're going to reduce the number of registration allowed for individual users from 10 to 3. And we're going to combat unlawful authority or, illegal use of SIM cards. We are preparing for the legislative proposals, and hopefully we can submit it to LegCo for scrutiny within 2026. At the same time, we will continue to work with the police and the trade to roll out new measures to combat SMS and phone deceptions. Now, in terms of broadcasting, the government has always strived to provide an appropriate and up-to-date regulatory environment and promote competition to offer innovative and diversified broadcasting services to local viewers and listeners. Currently, there are 3 domestic free television program service licenses. Their licenses would expire from 2027 to 2028. In June this year, we also reported to this panel where we briefed members on the public consultation and license renewal exercise that we are undertaking. In March 2026, we're going to submit our recommendations on the license renewal applications to the Chief Executive and Council. We will try to strike a balance between the interest of the public and the licensees so that television services can continue to be provided. On Radio Television Hong Kong, RTHK. The RTHK will continue to strengthen its role as the only public service broadcaster in Hong Kong. It will work with other departments and bureaus to promote policies of the administration. In April this year, the RTHK rolled out the new television program, Government and You, which is a program broadcast in 4 different time slots with a focus on government efforts that are closely related to the daily lives of the citizens. The RTHK in August launched led a group of young people to Hangzhou to learn more about the development of our countries and to tell good stories of our country. The RTHK also launched a new program called 18 Heartfelt Vibes in late September this year to introduce interesting stories, activities, and services available in the 18 districts. The RTHK has been collaborating with various broadcasting and media organizations and has been working with Malaysia, Vietnam, and Belt and Road countries alike. To continue to enhance the efficiency of RTHK, it is rolling out different measures to save resources and streamline manpower, make use of technology in program production so that public resources can be well used. So much for my presentation. Madam Chair, we're happy to take questions from members. Thank you. There are 10 members who have pressed the button. I'll read out their names. Dr. Low Ai Kwok, Mr. Chen Chunying, Mr. Benson Look, Mr. Ma Fong Kwok, Mr. Chow Min Kwok, Mr. Lam Shen Sing, Mr. Chen Siu Hong, Mr. Dennis Lim, Dr. Wendy Hong, Mr. Tony Chen. Dr. Low Ai Kwok, please. Thank you, Chairman. The paper talks about the mission and public purposes of the RTHK. Well, 6 years ago, I talked about my dissatisfaction with the work of the RTHK. During golden time of television hours, RTHK played some tortoise swimming and played how a piece of cake was inflating in an oven. I think that's ridiculous. I had high hopes for the RTHK. Although they may not have abundant resources, they should still be able to produce programs that align with the government mission. The RTHK may also purchase programs from other countries or from the mainland to play on their channels. The officials from the RTHK back then said that their programs showing tortoise or cake were very popular among elderly. Times have changed. Now the RTHK is showing drama and television programs for the mainland. I think that's great. We are going to have national games very soon. I think that the RTHK should play its role. They should roll out promotional campaigns or deliver live broadcast of the games under the upcoming events that we're going to have on the promotion of government policies and work. We have some great achievements in terms of innovation and technology, but it's not well promoted. The government often says that the RTHK has their editorial autonomy, but I think that the mindset has changed. I think that we should leverage on the RTHK to promote our INT achievements and government policies as well as work. Thank you. Secretary. Thank you, Dr. Loh, for the questions and your recognition of the work of the RTHK. RTHK has been adhering to their public purposes and mission under the Charter of RTHK. We've received comments regarding the production, the programs offered by the RTHK. The company has been working with the mainland broadcaster to show youth-related programs for national education. As I said, we have television programs that promote government policies and work, and programs on the 18 districts in Hong Kong. The RTHK enjoy editorial autonomy. Despite this, we welcome views from the public so that the programs produced by the RTHK can be more popular, and that the RTHK can give full play to its role under the Charter of RTHK. Now I defer to Ms. Kwan, Director of the RTHK, to elaborate. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Loh, for his comments and his recognition towards our goal of reform. We will continue to uphold the mission bestowed upon us. As a government department, we will make full use of the resources allocated to us. We will send right and correct messages to the people through our programs. We will talk about national developments and achievements and to tell good stories of our country. We will also, through our programs, let people know about our strengths and advantages, and we also work with overseas broadcasters to share with them our experience and promote our events. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Ronick Chan. Thank you, Chair. I have several questions. First one is about unmanned aircraft development. Right now, we are now using the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bandwidth. And paragraph 5 says that the OFCA will be launching the 1.4 gigahertz band for use by unmanned aircraft. Will that have an impact on other areas of development for developing a low altitude economy? We must coordinate with the Greater Bay Area. So we are now going to designate this band. Have we considered our cooperation with them in this regard? Second question about network. I'm happy to see that at the 6/7 gigahertz band auction, we are a pioneer in the world so that the 6G mobile operators can make preparation for 6G launch. And then it also says that for newly built and rebuilt specified buildings, space should be reserved for the MNOs to install such facilities. We still have a great number of areas where old buildings abound. So for the new facilities to be installed, could they cover areas where there is a concentration of old buildings so that they can still enjoy 6G in the future? Now, the last question is about RTHK again. I have also seen changes in the RTHK, and you've mentioned about Government and You, this program. I watch that all the time. And it also carries messages or information about the electrical. And RTHK also broadcasts sports program, has also purchased or acquired programs from the mainland. You are going to tell good stories about Hong Kong and the mainland, about programs carrying government information. What is the ratio? And do you have a target ratio for the future? I know that sports programs and dramas are also popular, but I'm sure that you have a target ratio allocated to programs telling good stories about Hong Kong and China. Do you have a target? Thank you. On the first and second questions, I'll defer to Mr. Leung, the Director General of Communications, to take those. And then the third question, can I defer to Director of Broadcasting, Ms. Angela Kwan, to take the question? Mr. Leung, thank you. Thank you, Chair. First, about the 1.4 gigahertz band, will that affect our cooperation with the GBA? I can say for sure that it will not, because we are choosing 1.4 gigahertz, and that is in line with the country's development. And that is also a spectrum or band allocated by the Cyber Administration of China for unmanned aircraft use. Now, as for old districts, whether the reception will be poorer in terms of the mobile communication services, in new buildings, space has been reserved for installing new radio base stations. And for new buildings, they may be in old districts and new districts. So in the old districts, such RBS will be there to provide services. We have also made public available government premises and government buildings for the MNOs to install the radio base stations. 1,500 such premises have been opened up. And in July this year, we also launched a subsidy program for the MNOs to install RBS at country parks and also remote areas. So through these measures, we hope to enhance the coverage of our mobile network. Ms. Kwan, please. I'll make a brief response. I thank Mr. Ronick Chan for your question. For RTHK, we have two parts, TV sections and radio section. In terms of program production, for programs related to government policies and the country policies, there are quite a number of them. There are 8 PPGs under the charter of RTHK, whereby we used to arrange our programs. And on the government's part, different policy bureaus and departments are carrying out a variety of tasks. And we should beef up publicity on such work so that the public can have a better understanding of our work. We don't have a fixed ratio. because for some programs they might carry information at the same time, also telling good stories about the government and the country. Overall, we would like to do more. And this year, we have a new arrangement. Earlier this year, we have proactively invited various policy bureaus and government departments to put forth cooperation agreements. And if they have new policies and new measures which they hope to publicize through RTHK, then they can come up with these suggestions. Well, Government and You is such a program which carries such a function, and we need information from them in order to produce this program. Now, over 20 government departments have asked us to produce programs disseminating their information. And I can say for sure that such programs will be a lot more in the future, and the themes will also be more diversified. Mr. Benson, look, thank you, Chair. And I have two questions as Secretary, or two areas of concern. About is aerospace space economy. In the policy address, it says that the government would like to build up the development and infrastructure for space economy. And we are very concerned about the LAE development. If we can get involved in aerospace, that would be good. Space economy has a great potential. So can the administration share with us the government's vision on developing space economy? Do you have short-term and mid-term goals? In the past, we have seen that some space companies would like to develop in Hong Kong, but the results are yet to be seen. And the administrator and the secretary said that you would be streamlining the vetting procedures of the relevant license applications. But on top of that, do you have any other measures to attract aerospace companies to establish a presence in Hong Kong? So that's the first question. Second question is about the 5G coverage in rural areas. In extending coverage for RG in rural areas, in July 2025, Ofgem has launched the subsidy scheme to extend 5G coverage in rural and remote areas. And you're now inviting the MNOs to submit their applications. I know that Sha Tao Kop, the front closed areas, Tai O, Sai Wan, and etc. have been covered. And that brings convenience to villages as well as the visitors to these areas. My question for the Secretary, now you have 2 months ago, you started inviting the MNOs. What has been the response so far? Your target is to cover 98% of major government hiking trails in 5 years. Is that still the target? Can you achieve the target? On space economy, that is detailed in the government's public policy address. And space economy straddles different bureaus. Under CEDB, the relevant authority will work out different measures to help the development of low Earth orbit satellites and low altitude economy. Can I defer to Mr. Leung to talk about extending the coverage of 5G network in rural areas? About that, we have received 3 applications which we are processing. Now, we are still coordinating with the relevant MNOs. We hope that the 4 major MNOs can take part in the work so that no matter which network or which MNO the villages are using, they can still get covered. So I think the progress is up to our expectation. It's too premature to say whether we can achieve our target, but we'll continue our dialogue with the MNOs. And for some rural areas, there might be a lack of electricity or the fiber-based network. We still have to sort these problems out with the relevant bureaus and departments. We will continue with our work. Space economy, Secretary? Let me add about low Earth orbit satellites. If we're talking about space economy, a number of departments are getting involved. Our concept right now is that we would like to streamline the license application procedure to attract the relevant companies to operate LEO satellites in Hong Kong. The beauty of LEO is that it carries wide band, low latency, because it's just 400 and 2,000 km from the Earth, and for satellites, the distance is 36,000 kilometers. So the LEOs satellites are much more flexible, and they can also cover the North and South Pole, and they can help facilitate functions like telemetry and also the Internet of Things. So that is very helpful in our developing of the low altitude economy. We're now conducting the relevant study, and within this year, we hope to streamline the license application procedures. So that means that we would like to issue just one pair of licenses for one satellite. No matter whether you have several dozen or several hundred satellites in one constellation, you are subject to only the regulation of one license. Now, apart from streamlining the procedures, we also welcome companies coming to Hong Kong to use, say, LEO satellites launched by the mainland for testing. We are now processing the applications from 3 companies for testing, and they are also interested in applying for telecommunications licenses to use mainland satellites to provide the relevant services. So we would like to take forward the matter with full steam. Mr. Ma Fung Kok. Thank you, Chair. My question is similar to Mr. Benson Look's first question. Satellite broadcasting has been here for us for some 20 years, and 2 major companies are operating the service. One is AsiaSat, the other one is Asia Satellite. I would like to find out more. You are now going to streamline the relevant process. Does it mean that the existing procedures are hampering their provision of service? What are the requirements right now? You mentioned about some technical issues, but in terms of the licensing conditions, what is the difference between what you're going to plan and what is in existence now? And you have also answered my original question on who are already operating in the market. And then paragraphs 9 and 10 mentioned about extending the 5G coverage in rural and remote areas. Not long ago at the BCP, because of too many tourists, there were problems with the coverage. People couldn't buy tickets because of the jam in the network. And in the several BCPs, including the Shenzhen BCP, the number of travelers has been on the increase. I hope that the government can relaunch the multiple entry visas or permits, and if that is going to be done, the usage rate will continue to rise. Has the government increased the capacity, enhanced the efficiency in the mobile service network?
Thank you. I will ask Mr. Leung, Director General of Communications, to take the question. Thank you. We're using 2 satellites currently for live broadcast of ball games such as the Olympics and the World Cup. We make use of these satellites so that we can receive real-time signals for live broadcasts of events. This is very much different from low Earth orbit satellites. For LEO satellites, we rely on a large number of satellites. Because satellites move along with the Earth, so they're different from geostationary satellites. We need over 10 or over 100 satellites for live broadcasting. That's why for geostationary satellites, we only need one pair of licenses for one satellite for broadcast of games or events. Now, in terms of insurance and requirements, they apply to only that particular satellite. But for LEO satellites, we need a group of satellites for it to be effective. And the satellite is much smaller, is of a dozen kgs. Their life cycle is also shorter. So we can see that the operators will have to add new satellites. They have to replace old ones very often. We cannot adopt the one pair of licenses for one satellite approach anymore. We now will issue only one license for one operator, regardless of the number of satellites that they have. The application fee will remain unchanged. Because of the streamlined approach, the operator don't have to make new applications whenever they add new satellite to their system. On the 2nd of May, there were a large number of visitors at Klong Ma Chau boundary control point. That's why no one could receive telecommunication signals. We reviewed the situation with the operators and the MTRCL. The network coverage of Lok Ma Chau has been strengthened. At Lo Wu, Austin, MTR stations, we are building additional radio base stations to meet extra demand during holidays. Mr. Chow Man Kwong. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask about telescams, because in the first 7 months, we have recorded 25,000 deceptions. Many of them are online scams and telephone scams. There are over 1,000 tertiary students that have been scammed of $100 million. An individual who was a university student committed suicide because of the scam that she fell prey to. So I wonder how the Communications Authority can provide support to law enforcement agencies. What can we do technically to intercept these scams at source so that police's law enforcement efforts can be more effective? Second, if I'm not mistaken, in 2028, some free TV licensees will have to renew their license. Apart from adopting this highest bidder wins approach, is there any mechanism for the administration to review the performance of the licensees before granting a new license? Say, for example, were there licensees who ignore complaints? Some people told me that when they went to certain sections, road sections in Hong Kong, their signals became faulty and they could not receive they could not have access to the internet when they reached certain areas in Hong Kong. I think that we should take the opportunity of a license renewal to ask the licensees to rectify their mistakes. Well, my third question on RTHK. National Games is about to begin. What measures and plans does the RTHK have to promote awareness of the National Games? and how can we cheer on our athletes through our RTHK programs. Secretary, thank you. We attach a lot of importance to scams and deceptions. The Communications Authority has been working on combating such scams, and as I said, we have reduced the maximum limit of registration for individual users from 10 to 3 in terms of SIM cards under the real name registration program for SIM cards. We have cancelled a large number of SIM cards, and we also put in place this functions of +852 to alert people of potential scam messages. We also require service providers to adopt IM Smart as the default registration method for Hong Kong ID card holders before they can get hold of a new SIM card. We also ask the telecommunication service providers to intercept potential deception messages and numbers. We assess the performance of the operators before we renew their licenses, their free TV licenses. Now on RTHK, we will fully support the work of it and the national games. I will ask the Director of Broadcasting to elaborate. Thank you. Thank you. In terms of national games, we have been preparing for it. We have produced programs. We work with the China Media Group and the Guangdong Radio and Television, as the national games mostly take place in the Greater Bay Area. Apart from programs that talk about athletes, we have Hong Kong athletes going to the mainland arenas to talk about entertainment and facilities nearby on the mainland. We're going to roll out a new television program on the national games to heighten the awareness of it among the general public. During the course of national games, we're going to upgrade our hardware and telecommunications devices. The LED and some hardware settings of the studios and the RTHK have also been upgraded. We will broadcast no less than 10 hours of national games at Channel 31, and we will also produce highlights of some of the games so that our viewers and listeners would be kept updated of the latest news. In Channel 36, we're going to provide live broadcast of the national games. Because there will be different games in different arenas, we're going to play the games that have the participation of Hong Kong athletes on this channel. Next, Mr. Chen Chenying. Thank you. I'd like to ask about space economy. I know that some parts of the satellites or rockets of our countries were produced by local tertiary students and institutions. I believe that the development of low altitude or low Earth orbit satellites would facilitate the development of a local logistics and economy. I know that not just CEDB is involved in the development of space economy in Hong Kong. I wonder if the administration have any concrete goals in mind in the next, say, 3 to 5 years. You may not have a blueprint ready yet. I wonder if we're going to work with overseas and mainland enterprises. Will they come to Hong Kong? Will they bring along advanced satellite parts to Hong Kong? Can we make these parts ourselves to provide to the mainland for the development of space economy? The paper also talks about the development of RTHK. I know is working on producing the variety of programs. I'm concerned whether they have enough resources. Their building's been in use for quite a number of years. We visited the building. The building is quite dilapidated, and it seems that there are a large number of vacancies in the station, and the vacancy rate is as high as, I believe, 10 to 20%. The RTHK said that they had a goal of building a new building for the RTHK, but given the fiscal deficit, will the plan be abandoned? In the paper, it is said that the RTHK will strive to increase their revenue. How will they do it? Will they produce programs in partnership with mainland broadcaster or Southeast Asian radio stations? Secretary, thank you, Mr. Lam, for the questions. Thank you for your concern. We've been looking into the future development of the RTHK and its need for a new building. When it's appropriate, we're going to brief members on the plan. We try to save resources and cut expenditure. We've been outsourcing our services, and we've been making use of artificial intelligence to produce programs to reduce expenses. I hope that when we submit our proposals for a new building, members will support it. Space economy is a complicated subject. Many departments and bureaus are involved. I will ask Maggie, Permanent Secretary, to elaborate. Thank you. The member is right. In this year's policy address, the Chief Executive talked about how we can make use of our advantage of being an international metropolis, as well as our strength to promote the development of space economy. Say, for example, at Inno, Hong Kong, we're going to establish a space robotics center to support the Chang'e 8 mission of our country. We'll also have other programs that provide over $100 million for 6 research projects among the tertiary institutions. As explained by the Director General, we're looking into streamlining the approval procedures for low Earth orbit satellites in the Communications Authority, so that we can transform from one pair of licenses for one satellite to one pair of licenses for a group of satellites. If there is any enterprise that is interested in developing a space economy, we do have mechanism for it. Thank you, Mr. Chan Shih-hong. Thank you, Madam Chair. There are many measures in the policy address to develop new growth engines, say, for example, low altitude economy, space economy. On the promotion of the development and infrastructure of aerospace technology to support space economy, I'm glad that there are many measures. I know that the CA is going to streamline procedures, but the findings of the study will not be announced until 2026. And after that, we need to amend legislation. I know the difficulties faced by the administration. Mr. Leung just now explained that we're not just talking about one pair of licenses for one satellite. We need one license for, say, for example, hundreds of satellites. Nevertheless, I hope that the administration will speed up their study.
LAE is a new growth engine in Hong Kong, and a mobile communications network is a critical component of LAE infrastructure. I'm very concerned about the use and regulation of unmanned aircrafts. And apart from working on local space, and I think we should work across the border in order to facilitate the flow of goods and people. So Mr. Ronnie Chan has asked the question about introducing designated spectrum, i.e. 1.4 gigahertz band, together with the 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz bands for the use of LAE. If that is done, do you think that you can support cross-boundary travel of unmanned aircraft for flow of data, goods, and also telemetry purposes? And if the answer is in the negative, I think you should step up your efforts to try to align yourselves with the GBA cities. If there are boundaries in terms of the use of space between Hong Kong and the GBA, and there are limitations, then we will not be able to provide delivery services across the boundary. Now, as for the 1.4 gigahertz band, the OFCA believes that the relevant licensing regime will be in place by the end of 2025. And in April, you have started consulting the trade, including the LAE regulatory sandbox applicants. Can the administration share with us the mainstream views received from the industry so that we can have a better understanding? Thank you, Mr. Chan, for your question about the licenses for LEO satellites. We will be watching closely the situation, and we would ascertain whether we can advance our timetable. For the other questions, can I defer to Mr. Leung, Director General of Communications, to address the questions? Chair, about the LAE designated spectrum 1.4 gigahertz band, I must reiterate that for this designated spectrum, it should tie in with the other wireless network resources, including Wi-Fi and 4G and 5G mobile networks, so that we have enough capacity to support the development of LAE. Now, apart from 1.4 gigahertz band, I must say that in the past few years, we have made available 3,600 megahertz for use in 4G or 5G mobile networks. These are also suitable for use in LAE. What they need to do is to install additional RBS or adjust the direction of the antennae a bit in order to make use of the bandwidth. If that is done, and if we can communicate with the relevant MAOs, we do have enough capacity. When we talk with the mainland experts, they also said that since we have made available so much spectrum, we do have enough spectrum to support the development of LAE. Would that be a seamless operation when activities take place across the boundary? That has to do with the location or the installation of RBS on the two places. I believe that the companies concerned will be talking to companies on the other side And in order to install RBS suitable for use for 1.4 gigahertz band so that the services can be provided in a seamless way. You haven't answered my question about the views of the industry. Yes, Mr. Chen, thank you for your reminder. In April, we talked to the industry players, including the LAE regulatory sandbox applicants. They supported the use of the 1.4 gigahertz band for use in the LAE. They understand that the same bandwidth is being used on the mainland. So the manufacturers of unmanned aircrafts will also make the relevant installation on their unmanned aircrafts so that these aircrafts can communicate via the 1.4 gigahertz band. I know that 2 companies will add in this 1.4 gigahertz band in their products. Mr. Dennis Leung, Chair. The government has stepped up its efforts in regulating the telecommunications industry, especially on the PPS cards. And I know that the government has added a measure relating to a course prefixed with +852. There are courses without the hash symbols or +852 appearing. So people don't know the source of the incoming calls. And also there are fraudulent websites. In terms of the DNS registration, will the government adopt more AI to step up the regulation to further clamp down on cybercrimes? The government will also proactively develop the application, the commercial application, particularly of 6G. How will the government make use of the 6G in the use of Internet of Things and also other areas? When will you launch the 6G pilot tests to speed up the development of 6G? In accordance with the Outer Space Ordinance and Telecommunications Ordinance, you would also be streamlining the application, procedures. If there are no ancillary or support measures to tie in with the streamlining process, that won't work. How can you add in further conditions in the licenses to encourage or incentivize the enterprises to make available more positions in the company so that local people can also join the trade? Can I defer to Mr. Leung? In terms of website address, we are rigorously monitoring the situation. And once scams are identified, we liaise closely with the police to shut down or block such websites. In the past few years, we have closed down some 6,700 websites and also hyperlinks. Just in this month, in August rather, we have closed down 335 websites. We will continue to monitor the situation. For SMS whose senders are not clear, and once we receive complaints in that regard from Hong Kong people, we would cancel the relevant websites to ensure the security of Hong Kong people. As for the 6G development, 6G is not just for communications. It can also be used for in areas like unmanned vehicles. We are keeping a close eye on developments worldwide. In fact, in May this year, we also hosted the 3rd edition of the 6G Global Forum, and some 700 from 68 countries participated online and offline in the forum. And or in the 6G Global Summit rather, and different experts have shared their vision on development of 6G, and we are liaising with the local trade, and we would facilitate their pilot tests so that they don't have to pay a spectrum utilization fee to get tests done. Well, we should end our meeting by 45, but I will be extending the meeting by 50 minutes. 5 more members would like to speak. We asked about how satellite development can promote the development of talents in Hong Kong. Mr. Leung or the Permanent Secretary, do you have anything to add? On Mr. Leung's question, like what I said, there's our government and the various policy bureaus are doing different work. And we have set up Inno Hong Kong. We are allocating funding to university to do R&D, and we know that a Hong Kong investment company will also be promoting investment related to space economy and space technology. If we manage to draw in the relevant companies, that will also create jobs for Hong Kong. Dr. Wendy Hong. Secretary, many members have asked about the development of space economy. I have several specific questions. In the past 5 years, many satellite companies have talked to me. They would like to build a base in Hong Kong. I would like to export products to overseas, and they would like to even launch satellites in Hong Kong and also share data in this regard. And that has to do with whether our policies can meet with their needs. They have 4 concerns. First, they have concern about the application procedures, the application cycle, and so on. The AFCA has the authority to liaise directly with their overseas counterparts. Can we go through all the application procedures in Hong Kong without the need to go through the mainland authorities? And they are also concerned about the SAR satellites and also whether these can meet with the market needs. They said that they need more relaxed policy so that they can expand their overseas markets. The third, on the supply chain, well, every segment of the supply chain has to be interconnected so that the satellites can be launched. If we don't have a launch pad in Hong Kong, we have to export the satellites to overseas on the mainland. Can we also streamline the relevant export processes? And the fourth area, and the satellite import permit validity period is 6 months, and the import permit validity period is only 3 months. These are too short, and if they have some difficulties in the production process, then the permit will expire. Will the government model after what's being done in Singapore so that the 3-month validity period can be extended to 1 year? Well, the questions are very technical and are rather in-depth. We might not have the sufficient information on hand to answer your questions. Can we give you a reply in writing later? Yes, thank you.
Mr. Tony Che, thank you. I'd like to follow up on paragraph 5 of the paper. Other questions have asked about the LEO, low Earth orbit satellites. The administration said that they are looking into streamlining the vetting procedures of license applications for operating LEO satellites. Is it because the procedures now is so complicated, that's why you think that by simplifying it, you will be able to attract investment? Paragraph 8 says that newly built or rebuilt specified buildings with building plans approved on or after the 1st of April this year must reserve space for mobile network operators authorized by the CA to install and maintain mobile application facilities. I believe that by 2030, 6G will be rolled out for commercial usage. Apart from reserving space for the installation of facilities, will there be other requirements on, say, for example, power supply? Many members are also concerned about tele-scam and online scams. I know that the administration is working with telecommunication service provider on combating deceptions. Do we have a database? Because we want to intercept scam at source. Is there a database that is shared between the government and the service providers to combat deception? Thank you. I will ask the Permanent Secretary, Maggie, to take the first question. As for the other two questions on radio base stations and deception, well, I will ask the Director of Broadcasting, the Director General of Communications to answer the question. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the question. As I've explained, we see that there is great potential for the development of space economy. That's why different policy bureaus been trying to promote it in Hong Kong. We've been supporting research and development and tertiary institutions. The Hong Kong Investment Corporation has been promoting investment in space economy. The CEDB and the Communications Authority will try to make sure that our vetting procedures are up to date. We try to switch from the approach of one pair of licenses for one satellite to one license for a group of satellites. I will now defer to Mr. Leung. Thank you. We amended the legislation to allow newly built or newly rebuilt buildings to reserve space for the installation of radio base stations. When we amended the legislation, we have taken into account the development of 6G. We adopt a technology-neutral approach. The specified buildings will have to use the space reserved for 6G radio base station. Apart from space, now in terms of power supply and fiber and cable, we also have additional requirements. After talking to the buildings department, in their practice note, they have set out the new restrictions. So developers, when they build new buildings, they have to make preparations to meet our new requirements. Now, on deception, we do have tele-intelligence sharing with the police. We have been in communication with them, and we also share our data with the telecommunication service providers so that they check our information against theirs under the real name registration program for SIM cards. Next, Mr. Lee Chen-kan. Thank you, Madam Chair. After the epidemic, there are many secretaries and directors of the government visiting Belt and Road and ASEAN countries to promote Hong Kong and let them know what's going on in our city, in our country, to tell good stories. The Western countries and media have been trying to smear us. They're doing a good job in that. Unfortunately, there will be investment funds from ASEAN countries coming to Hong Kong. We just covered low altitude economy, space economy. How can we leverage on the technology of our country to create use cases in Hong Kong? Second, with the LEO satellites, can we open up the facilities such as the launch pads that we have for the general members of the public, including students and tourists? Third, on RTHK, they have created and produced many programs. They purchased the broadcasting rights of the Olympics. That's why we were able to watch so many games. They also have programs on the cuisine and the nature of our country. Short videos are very popular on the mainland. These video clips last for just a few minutes. They are very popular. Can we create also short videos on our characteristics, what's going on in the Legislative Council, for example, and publish them on Douyin and the Red Note? We can also put English subtitles on these short videos or our programs so that people in other countries can know more about city. Thank you. Secretary. When foreign funds come to Hong Kong, they have their own strategies. They come because they see opportunities here. We will let them know what industries we have. Say, for example, the Northern Metropolis, so that they can make the right investment decision. The chief executive mentioned in the policy address that there is a French aeronautical company that has made a huge investment in Hong Kong. This is a great example showing that Hong Kong is developing very quickly in different industries. The Invest Hong Kong, the Office for Attracting Enterprises and Talents, will try to work on it. If I'm not mistaken, we don't have any launch facilities for satellites in Hong Kong. The Director General of Communications can verify. I do agree that we can produce more videos on local culture so that people on the mainland know more about what's going on here. They may then want to come to promote people-to-people exchange and the tourism industry. The Director General of Communications, please. Thank you. As mentioned by the Secretary, we don't have any launch facilities, but we do have ground stations that communicate with satellites in space. These are some great infrastructures of scale. However, they are located in restricted areas in industrial zones and the southern district. If we want to open them up for visit, we have to talk to the operators, and we have to ensure the security. I know that, Madam Chair, many of these ground stations are located in restricted zones. We can make use of viewing deck to allow people to take photos. If we don't have any launch facilities or launch pad, are we going to build them in the future? Secretary, we'll look into whether there is any viewing deck away from the ground stations. Some of the launch pads and launch facilities are located in waters. We'll look into whether we have the capability to launch any satellites. Time is almost up. I will extend the meeting by another 15 minutes. Ms. Yonghua Yan. Thank you. I thank the administration for taking up the New People's Party suggestions on the promotion of space economy. It is said that according to the World Economic Forum, the space economy is anticipated to reach $1.8 trillion by 2035, a significant leap from $630 billion in 2023. We have met with many scientists, aerospace show scientists, and scholars. They have great hopes for the development of space economy in Hong Kong, but we don't have enough space. We don't have the right talents. I hope that the government will take the lead in promoting space economy, and I hope that there will be a dedicated office for it. We don't have the egg, we don't have the chicken. It's difficult for us to develop it. The Poly U, the Hong Kong U, Chinese University, City University, and UST, all of them are working on the research and development of space, but they don't have any support. I'm glad to see that the government is trying to promote the development of low Earth orbit satellites. They are now auctioning for spectrums and bands. This is very encouraging for scientists. Second, the CEDB now has a new policy package on attracting enterprises and talents. I wonder if they cover space enterprises. When these companies come to Hong Kong, will they have any form of support? Because on the mainland, there are many satellite companies that produce and launch satellites. I wonder if the administration will support space enterprises to set up offices in Hong Kong. Second, on spectrum. Well, 6G will be the new trend, and I know that the government is prepared for it. For remote and rural areas, will the government extend 6G coverage to those areas to 100% from 99%? So I wonder if 6G will cover rural and remote area. Thank you.
Secretary, thank you, Ms. Yung, for your question about space economy. I said many times that this straddles across different policy bureaus. different policy bureaus have to work together to ascertain the relevant and coordinate among them for the relevant policies to be drawn up. And CEDB are looking into areas like the spectrum and so on. The next question is about 6G. I'll defer to the Director General to take the question. And in terms of our policies, we will be trying to attract aerospace technology companies to come to Hong Kong. The policy package is spearheaded by the Financial Secretary, and it covers many different aspects. We are going to attract strategic enterprises, including aerospace technology companies, to come to Hong Kong. We will ascertain the needs of the relevant enterprises and will try to come up with the resources to meet their needs. And we will also be looking into whether the companies can bring economic benefits to Hong Kong. That will be a factor taken on board. So the policy package will cover different aspects. Can I defer to the Director General of Communications to supplement on the point about 6G? Whether 5G coverage and 6G coverage can be further extended to cover rural and remote areas. In July this year, we launched a subsidy scheme to subsidize MNOs to install 50 radio base stations in rural and remote areas. There are right now 33 RBSs in Hong Kong. So in the next several years, we would like to double the number. So villages and visitors can make use of the network to communicate. And we would also like to put in smart facilities in villages. And if hikers or people would like to seek help in these countryside areas, they can do so via the network. Apart from the terrestrial network, there would also be a non-terrestrial networks to be supported by LEO satellites. We believe that the coverage will be more comprehensive with the introduction of 6G. So whether you have a RBS or not, you will be covered because the LEO satellites will be able to cover various areas. We would like to attract different companies to provide services and install the relevant telecom facilities. Mr. Holden Chow. Thank you, Chair. I have two questions. I noticed that in this year's PA there is a paragraph on the government's support to media organizations to do broadcasting overseas. And in paragraph 21, it says that the RTHK is preparing for signing of a memorandum of understanding with Radio Television Malaysia and Voice of Vietnam. Can you tell us more about the role of RTHK when that is done? We will be co-producing with overseas broadcasters, or we will be producing programs for broadcast there. And in paragraph 21, it mentions about the MOU with Malaysia and Vietnam. What about Europe? Will you be exploring into that market as well? Second question. I'm grateful for the RTHK heeding our views. At various occasions in the LegCo, I said that we should provide sufficient resources to produce English language programs in Hong Kong to take care of the needs of English-speaking people in Hong Kong. And I am glad to see that more English language programs are being produced. That is something good. I hope that you can keep up your work. And should we be leveraging on these English language programs to tap into overseas markets. So can you share your thoughts with us in those regards, please? Thank you, Mr. Ho, for your questions. What Mr. Ho said is exactly the direction that we are heading towards. We would like to cooperate with more overseas media. We have signed an agreement with the broadcaster in Guangxi, and I would like to defer to the Director of Broadcasting to elaborate. On Mr. Chow's question, like what the Secretary said, we would like to tap into overseas markets. We would like to extend our reach and influence overseas. This is something that we are keen on working. We have signed agreements with different broadcasters at provincial level, say Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangxi. We would continue to visit different provinces. We would like to do more. Different provinces and cities are targeting different viewers. And for Guangxi, they are targeting some viewers in the ASEAN countries. And they have liaison with broadcasters or TV stations there. So when we talk to them about the cooperation agreement, we are focused on several aspects. We would like to co-produce programs. And these can be broadcast to different areas through the network. And then like what Mr. Ho said, we would also like to produce English language programs. We would like to exchange programs with these overseas broadcasters. And we would like to give them our programs, and we'd also like to take programs from them so that we can extend our viewer groups. And especially for English language programs, we do have one which targets the ASEAN viewers. We have recommended this program to the Guangxi broadcaster. We also have documentaries which are on the tourism in Hong Kong and some basic situation in Hong Kong. We would like to broadcast these programs through these networks. For the South Asian broadcasters, we are also part of a league in the Asia-Pacific region. And we are also liaising with partners in the Middle Asian countries. We have made a lot of friends in that network, and we would like to extend our reach through signing cooperation agreements. We would like to broadcast more programs through their networks. We would also like to work through social media, our Facebook, and to promote our English language short videos. Thank you. Wow, it's my turn now. And I welcome the government's efforts in exploring into new economic arenas. And I think space economy is one which is worth working on. And also the development of LEO satellites is also one of the national strategies of the country. And I hope that we can work together with the business sector to promote LEO satellites produced by the mainland as well. I hope that you can work harder in that area. Now, for the development of LAE, I think that in the past year the government has moved rather speedily on that front. And I welcome the CA for auctioning more spectrum or designated spectrum to drive the development of LAE. In the recent past, we have liaised with a lot of mainland and overseas companies working on LAE. They are very interested in the Hong Kong market because Hong Kong is an international city. And it can be a window for the mainland enterprises. And while mainland enterprises, we find Hong Kong a very ideal platform for going out. So recently, we're looking into how we can partner with enterprises on the mainland in going global in developing the low altitude economy. Well, LAE is a strategic emerging industry in the country, and it would be a major industry for the country if they want to develop overseas market. And for the under the Belt and Road Initiative, it will be also a major focus. And many mainland enterprises are not aware that we have already amended our regulations, and the government is putting major efforts in developing LAE. So for our overseas offices, the ETOs, can they try to promote Hong Kong's situation on the mainland? Different provinces and cities have liaised with me, hoping that they can stage exhibitions in Hong Kong. So can the Hong Kong Trade Development Council stage more exhibitions on LAE? And for our overseas offices, ETOs, and so on, can you ask them to work together with the business to help them partner with mainland enterprises to go global? And then many members pointed out the role of the RTHK, and they can strengthen their role in promoting exchanges with overseas markets. Right now, well, the online media are much more effective and faster than traditional media. So I hope that RTHK can consider partnering with KOLs overseas and on the mainland to promote Hong Kong and to attract more tourists to come to Hong Kong. So they should help us tell stories about Hong Kong. And on the mainland, you should resort to using more short videos, and in overseas markets, you should use more short videos, and that will help with the development of Hong Kong. I'm happy to have very good exchanges with members, and I've heard a lot of valuable views on our work ahead. Members mentioned about space economy, LAE, and also the future direction of RTHK and so on. We would take heed of your views, and we will take stock of our work in the past and how we should work better. In the policy address, we have a dedicated office or task force to be set up in helping mainland enterprises to go global. Then that is the Go Global Task Force. And mainland enterprises can make use of this Go Global Task Force to go overseas. And Hong Kong Invest has staged 30 sessions to promote Hong Kong's business. And they're working together with the HKTDC and the ETOs, HKMA, and the Stock Exchange, and so on. Enterprises can make use of Hong Kong to do their investment and to go global. For enterprises involved in LAE can make use of Hong Kong as a platform to go global. Now, about RTHK. After several years of reforms, they are now very clear about the direction ahead. They know that they have to publicize more the government policies. They have to stage programs on people's livelihood. They should partner with mainland counterparts to tell good stories about Hong Kong and the country. They should make best use of the resources to do the best job. And I look forward to members' support of the work of RTHK so that the RTHK can discharge properly its role. And we would be adhering to the charter of RTHK in our production. And we should duly discharge our duty as a public service broadcaster In terms of a spectrum supply, we would also make sure that our spectrum supply would dovetail with the 6G development and development of LAE. Thank you, Secretary. I think we have a fruitful exchange today. And the next agenda item is AOB. I don't have an AOB meeting agenda. Thank you very much.